Hello, and welcome to Your Worst Nightmare, another RPG actual play podcast. Solotude, a journaling RPG podcast, is just me in a room, not to brag, with a journal, a solo RPG, and some damn good coffee. I play to see what happens in the story, I write in my fictional journal, and you get to hang out next to me by the fire. My name is Auri. Welcome. I hope you enjoy our time together. This episode is a dramatic journal entry reading for the prompts we got to in the previous episode. Some things might have changed a little bit from the decisions made in the episode since I've had a bit of time to collect my thoughts and write stuff down. This is Solotude. Vi do what in the shadows. Prompt 54. New York, New York, New York. November 1910. I'm not drunk. What do you care? You're a book, just an inanimate object. Now that you're open, I can read you like an open book. You've no feelings, just a cold hard exterior hiding thoughts upon thoughts upon thoughts upon thoughts. And don't get me started on the desires. Woof, so many desires. What am I talking about? Oh yeah. I just got home to my little New York City apartment from a night out with the boys. Capital B-O-Y-E-S. Boys. Frank, Ricardo, and Monique. The laborers. And I guess so am I now. I don't partake in any manual labor, but the culture is fascinating. They feel so passionately. Not just, but also, Unlike the humans I used to know who were judgmental. Not my new buds, buddingtons, as the British say. I must say it wasn't easy moving to New York. But finding food at any hour is a breeze, which is a perk you can only get in the metropolis. But even here, I found malice. I was treated like a monster, just because I looked like one. It used to be for the fact that I am one. But then I found humans who understood. Frank, Ricardo, and Monique. They really like me. They don't mind how I look. Ricardo said I look like a cross between a box of potato salad and a child's drawing of a chicken. I may not have the glamour I used to have, but this is me. The new me. On the outside, a disfigured ghoul, and a cruel fool on the inside. They play ball. I used to play ball. Together we hang around in taverns and talk about ball. In ball, we're equal. And for a while we can all feel like we're not monsters. I need to get something greasy in my system. Sober up, get my engines on. I keep a good-sized man tied up under my bed for times like these. I bring him steaks and cakes and stuff to keep him nice and plump. Just a sec, I'll be back. Wait, I'll throw him some rags down there so he can stop bleeding. He's not gonna miss those fat fingers of his anyway. What is he gonna do? Escape? Unlikely. What ho, that's better. What the hell have I been scribbling about here? Ah, yes, my new friends. Friends. The word seems so unfathomably distant. Is this truly what friendship feels like? They do not know my true nature, so most likely not. I do understand my fate now, better than before, and I have an inkling that this might be the last time I pass as a human to anyone. Bless the underprivileged masses of the United States for their terrible state of welfare, for even a hideous creature like me can blend in with relative ease. The world has forever changed. It is now an international global society built upon steel frames, oil, and productivity. New York seems to be the centerpiece in the gallery of modernity. There's no way I can keep up with the fancies of an age as fast as a horse's gallop. The other day, I thought I had it, and wore my floral-patterned handkerchief immaculately matched with my cape lined with etched flowers. As soon as I walked out the door, I was called 8 different things I couldn't even understand, and was promptly beaten up. If no one wears capes anymore, how do you masturbate publicly in a polite, non-intrusive way? Luckily, I have my friends, who have helped me with this conundrum, and many more. Frank is the best. He taught me to wear an overcoat for all public masturbatory needs that may arise. What a real brother. Brothers before others, he always says. He works construction over at Broadway. He's a master of steelwork, lifting and attaching steel onto steel. Frank is a small, round man with a hairless head, but filled with such vigor. I've never heard anyone utter as many curses per minute as good old Frank. At first, I got close to him with the intentions of making him my next under-the-bed man after I'm done with Alfredo. But then I noticed his company opens new avenues for me. In his presence, my relative ugliness is lessened to such an extent. I'm allowed in taverns, and even occasionally served. It's like Frank's appearance is so distracting, humans don't pay much attention to me at all. So I decided to make him my friend. I'm not going to eat him unless I have to, or really want to. Ricardo is the opposite of Frank in many ways, and I'm not quite as close to him as I am with Frank. Ricardo works at the city harbour as a longshoreman. He's almost as tall as I, but much, much wider. A strong man with the widest back and most impressive cock in town. Upon his cock, we have built our friendly relationship. Our cock so nice it has a name. Bartholomew. It rises early in the morning and wakes me from my slumber whenever I spend the night at Ricardo's. His cock is actually quite famous, for it is the biggest one I've certainly ever seen, and people from all over the city want to come and marvel at it. Ricardo takes it with him to the harbour on the weekends, where it can walk about freely and peck at worms and such. From Ricardo, I've learned to appreciate the smaller things in life. He has very little, just a small basement apartment and a sizable cock. And the rooster Bartholomew. Still, he's the happiest man in town. Always smiling and entering each day as if it was his first. A childlike wonder I now try to emulate. Monique has become my best friend among the guys. It doesn't matter that she's a woman. She has always felt like one of the boys, and who am I to criticize that? To be honest, I haven't been able to keep up with which gender is socially allowed to wear what, so I'm not the best judge of this. In my time, I remember wearing stockings and skirts, makeup, perfumes, accessories until the end of days. Now Monique tells me many of these things are considered feminine by nature. It makes little sense. I can't imagine anything more masculine than a powdered wig, stockings, and blush. I do find it interesting, though, the things that used to denote class are now attributed as gender characteristics instead. I don't remember much of my earlier days, mere flashes. But I remember we never really considered gender to be that big of an issue. We dressed how we pleased. And we pleased who we pleased. Monique is my best friend because she continues to patiently educate me on the intricacies of modern life. It's too much for me, though, as I really can't remember it all that well. But she tries, and I feel somehow recognizes I'm a creature outside time. The four of us frequent many taverns in the seedier parts of town, where the ale flows like I've never seen before. Wine could be more plentiful, but hey, no place is perfect. After we've sat around until morning talking about the different teams and players in the Major League, we walk our separate ways to our separate apartments, and I catch some mystery meat on the street corner. Lazarus Miracleman, 366 years old. Prompt 49. War. What is it good for? November 1918. The Great War. Despite its name, I'm not entirely sure what's so great about it. If I were a religious man, I would speak of the end of days. To think there are new horrors yet to be seen in this world, even for one as old as I. Steel-plated beasts of absolute destruction. Rifles that do not require gunpowder or loading. Man has even found a way to take to the skies with the birds. All this death? For what? To have good edible people rotting in the fields. To think mankind would become so wasteful, like children in the garden, dropping ripe apples from the branches onto the ground, where not even rats will agree to touch them. I was recruited into the United States Army in the spring of 1917. After hearing news for years of the troubles across the ocean, my friends Frank, Ricardo, and Monique were enlisted. I lost contact with them when they deployed. I have been stationed in France, in the region of Somme, in a village called Arsvilliers. Kind of sounds like Arsville, doesn't it? The area has been attacked by the Central Forces several times, but it has recently been reclaimed by the Allied Army. The strangest thing happened. After the Central Forces occupied the farmland here, after one particularly dark night, they had all disappeared. All that was left in their camp was torn uniforms and a pungent smell of ball sweat mixed with an undertone of mold. Perhaps another vampire? Who knows? Could be anything, really. When I first heard I was to don the armor of a knight and ride into battle with others, I admit I felt a spark of fear shoot across my skin. I thought about fleeing my responsibility for a while, but then thought that America has been good to me. even if many of its people haven't. I would go to war valiantly, with my head held high. I was immediately deemed unfit for service. In fact, the doctor who inspected me was baffled. My condition seemed to be something she had never witnessed. She was just about to conduct some experiments on my hand of hellish origin, when the door was bust open. It was a man I'd never seen before, but he was clearly an artist, for he had a shapely mustache and a twinkle in his eye. He said to stop the inspection immediately in a thick accent from perhaps Central Europe. He said to me, "If you fight, you will destroy the most beautiful thing in the world. You." Well, if that isn't artist talk for you up, I don't know what is. He gave me an option, a way out. To serve in the army under him, as his model in the propaganda unit in France. I accepted, and so we left for the small desolate town of Arzvilliers that had become a central region for the Allied forces. There's a wonderful upside to all this wasted human flesh and death. I did not think this would happen for me anymore at my age, but I've met someone. Someone who thinks I'm beautiful. He only paints me, and I only pose for him. I have spent 1.5 years with him, and I am in love. I think he is as well. His name is Alphonse Mucha. He paints such horrifying images of me, but they are inspirational, artistic, and in a twisted way flattering. We spent days in his studio where he paints me as German, Hungarian, Bulgarian, even Turkish soldiers. I have more or less clothes on, but even from under all that wardrobe, he paints the real me, the devil in a man's skin. Alphonse sees me and projects the horror onto the canvas. We spend nights eating, drinking wine, and making love. He has arranged for me a steady and ample supply of freshly fallen soldiers to eat. Mostly American. It's not like they're going to be sent across the Atlantic to be buried anyway. He has asked if he could watch me devour the corpses and paint it. I have not agreed to it, and he hasn't pushed, although he does bring it up from time to time. If I let him, I don't think I could contain myself, and I'd end up eating him too. He knows I'm a vampire. He knew it from the beginning, as he told me that is what fascinated and inspired him from the start. I do not know how he found out, because I have tried to keep my condition hidden from the humans. It might just be his artistic insight and instinct. 4 days ago, a military vehicle brought me my food for this week. 3 freshly fallen bodies from the Somme offense. I lifted the canvas and recognized them instantly. Frank, Ricardo, and Monique, in a dozen pieces. I was saddened and remembered our time in New York City fondly. But I felt the hunger, I felt the urge, and soon the only place you could find them was in the album of my memory, or the top of the lavatory. My memories of them shall fade soon. Then they are no more. Such is a human's life. Such is also mine. The war is soon over. All other Central Powers have surrendered, and Germany is the last one yet standing. In but weeks it will fall too. Alphonse has told me he wants to keep painting me in his studio in London. I shall accept. In his company, I feel I am seen as the angel of death that I am. If there indeed is something great about this war, it is our bond, and the fact that mankind learns that a world war is sheer lunacy, and will never attempt it again. Lazarus Miracleman, 375 years old. Thanks for listening, folks. My name is Auri Itämäki, and Solotude is my personal project. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can follow Solotude on Instagram at Solotude Show, and if there's something you liked, please drop a message or comment. Also, please rate and review the show. Tell a friend so people can find it. Additional episode music and sound effects courtesy of Epidemicsound, theme song courtesy of me. Thanks again for listening, everybody, and see you next week. Bye!